Their love for each other blossomed at the dawn of their youth. While he just received his license as an engineer, she was struggling to carve her niche in the fashion industry. Two different souls from two different worlds. But as the heavens had it, their two worlds apart collided. Then there was love, a love made in the University of the Philippines. This is the story of a fine lady, the most beautiful bride today, and the man she wants to grow old with. Joanne came from an affluent family in the small town of Irosin, Sorsogon. In her childhood, she would always have new clothes, shoes, and school materials. But she was an ordinary girl who had her childish ways. When her playmates looked at her from head to foot, she would pinch and threaten them until they cried. Behind the maldita child, though, was a lover of education. She perfected long exams in biology and English, and she never failed to go up the stage every single year. It was in secondary years when she began to unleash her creative persona. She believed she would make a name out of her creativity. But dreams don't come without impediments. When she lost her father at 17, putting her family in financial turmoil, and she was at the brink of losing her scholarship, she stood her ground as the eldest of three. She took tutorial and summer jobs while at school so she could fend for herself without relying too much on her grieving mother. She innovatively built small yet careful steps as a budding fashion guru. The awe-inspiring clothes she made spoke volumes of her dedication to the craft she always loved. Like her masterpieces inspired by her ingenuity, Joanne was also inspired romantically. Waylon came along, the budding engineer for whom her heart throbbed for the very first time. Waylon hailed from Legazpi City, Albay. His love for numbers can be attributed to his analytical mind honed in his tender years. He learned the rigors of chess as young as 8 years old, owing it to his father. He grew up tasting one victory after another. It must have been easy for him to be a consistent honor student because of his competitive intellectual advantage. But the right part of his brain was equally functioning well, as evidenced by his athleticism as well as his artistry. Being a chess prodigy, he defeated an engineering professor who never played against him again after his epic loss to a mere high school student. In college, he became one of the chosen few DOST scholars in the country and pursued mechanical engineering. He was doing well in his academics until one day he woke up tasting one failure after another. UP must have broken his spirit as it normally does to other students. However, his mother's unyielding love and constant care helped him pick up the shattered pieces and made him whole again. The once enthusiastic and competitive Waylon was back on his feet, finishing his degree in 4.5 years, one semester shy of the normal 5-year engineering track, but without expecting anything in the board exam. But he must be really Joanne's great find because he landed third in the board exam. While Joanne slowly made a name for herself in various local companies until she became an esteemed faculty of Raffles Millennium International, Waylon has remained loyal to Hitachi for the last 10 years. During those years, the couple was synonymous to a broken light that went on and off for reasons only the two of them understood. Things became more challenging for them when Joanne decided to work in China. Their long distance love affair was tested many times over, especially when constant communication and intimacy became a luxury they could not seem to afford. On the one hand, indecisiveness on Joanne's end was a crucial struggle because it came to a point when her beloved Waylon seemingly became a stranger to her. Waylon, on the other hand, felt the creeping sense of coldness and neglect of her career-driven and beloved Joanne. However, the lingering loneliness and emptiness were filled by their assurances of love, faith, patience, and understanding. Traveling to different countries together every 6 months became a necessity, if only to make up for the lost times. Then, in their trips, they would see how different they are. While Waylon prefers a laid back vacation, enjoying the serenity of the place and the breeze of the wind, Joanne loves the adventure, the rush, the busy itinerary made more exciting by taking photographs. Their differences spawn from Joanne's inclination to listen to eclectic music genres, to Waylon's preference for computer games and outdoor games. From Joanne's love for colorful designs to Waylon's minimalist point of view. From Joanne's expressiveness to the extent of talkativeness to Waylon's I'm a man of few words image. From Joanne's being a big spender to Waylon's let's save for our future attitude. However, as Waylon puts it, their differences complement them, thus make them stronger. They may be different in more ways than one, but their sweet acts of love for each other keep the romance. On their 6th anniversary, days before Joanne left for China, Waylon gave her some of their pictures together, where the tiniest details of the memory of each picture and everything that he liked about Joanne were written in post-its. Joanne in return surprised him with a cake. Waylon also fondly recalls the Aldo shoes that Joanne bought for her. The couple reminisces their sweetest post-New Year escapade in Pulau Pangkor in Malaysia, where they met some unforgettable misfortunes. But after all the unpleasant experiences, they were rewarded with beautiful memories in a five-star hotel in an exclusive island.
When we hit the lowest point of our relationship, I had a chance to look deeper into what we had. There were many questions and realizations. When our relationship was hit by a storm, we battled through it, and everything seemed calm afterwards, only to realize that it was only for a brief moment, and a strong wind was in our path again. We just reached the eye of the storm, and now it was time to overcome the gustiness of its tail. But after the dark days came the rainbow, and I was enlightened that she is the one I want to grow old with, that she is the one with whom I want to spend the rest of my life, that I cannot see myself being with somebody else but her, that all our problems we may encounter will be extinguished and will not happen if we are together.
I said yes for the plain reason that I love him very much. In the initial stage of our relationship, I prayed for a sign if he was worth all the trials and challenges that I was willing to endure for him and for us. God listened to me when Waylon gave me that sign. It was a rosary he bought in Calaruega where we will exchange our vows. Our love story was far from a fairy tale. We had our fair share of tests, and we reached the lowest point of our relationship. It was a blessing in disguise because we realized we needed each other to hurdle all the problems that came our way. I also realized that he was meant for me. I don't see myself with another man, and I don't see my future without him.
As they journey to a lifetime commitment and make life changing decisions, Joanne and Waylon will keep themselves reminded of how and when they fell in love with each other and their traits that make them fall in love over and over again. As they happily face new sunrises and dreadfully hurdle unexpected storms, they will look back with a smile on their faces to June 2013 when Waylon asked for Joanne's hand in marriage that led to this very day when they professed their eternal love for each other. Then they will be reminded that they have only each other until the sunset of their lives. Until the very end, only the two of them.